Hello and welcome to Money Matters. As the Lunar New Year approaches, our stock pickers reveal some pre-festival portfolio power for investors, choosing stocks that will hopefully ring in a profit in the year of the ox. Douglas George reports this special episode as three analysts go head-to-head.
Returning after both his stock picks burst through their target prices is Stephen Leung of UOB Kay Hian. Challenging him is a tag team from Ample Capital, Mila Yun and mentor Alex Wong. Mila's first stock pick is BYD Electronics, stock code 285, a spin-off of the electric car maker BYD. The company makes all manner of electronic components inside some of the most common products of the internet and smart devices age. Smartphone makers such as Huawei and Oppo use the company as a contract manufacturer. Apple and Samsung are some of the company's international clients, giving it strong backing in a competitive market. BYD has a great chance to ride the post-COVID recovery wave currently building up on the mainland.
I expect the first quarter, the smartphone demand will rebound because of the low-end and middle-end 5G phones. And for Apple's, many media like Reuters said Apple will rise its production by 30% year over year. So the first quarter would be pretty good.
With the 5G push just beginning to get revved up, Apple also is expected to launch a new line of products that could fill up BYD's order book further. It's already assembling its iPad. And the company has built up an ever closer partnership with China smartphone maker Xiaomi.
They built a laboratory together in China, Xiaomi and BYD Electronics. The laboratory is, they work for some R&D projects. If you don't want to rush into some skyrocketing tech stock, I think BYD Electronics is something reasonable and predictable.
The company lavishes shareholders with a large dividend of 10%. Even as the Trump era draws to a close, Chinese telecom companies like client Huawei have been targeted by the White House and shut out of the domestic U.S. 5G market due to Washington's concerns about national security. BYD Electronics may face some pressure if Huawei continues to meet stiff opposition in the Biden era.
The Huawei restriction may lead some order cuts to BYD Electronics. But I think it's under control because the growth in Apple and Xiaomi order may offset the risk from Huawei.
Mila sets a target price of $55 and a stop loss in the neighborhood of 27. Mila's colleague and mentor Alex Wong chooses the largest mainland platform distributing movie tickets, Maoyan Entertainment, stock code 1896. The company dabbles in the actual production of films as well.
The movie industry actually is showing a very strong signs of a recovery in China. But I think overseas investors are overlooking this industry because the movie industry elsewhere actually is really bad. So that's why they overlook this one. But I think they probably would come back to this one. And also they have a strong appetite for Chinese consumer pay. And Maoyan actually is the leader in this industry.
Unlike many new economy companies, Maoyan made money in 2019 but suffered along with the rest of the country during the pandemic. Alex thinks it will return to profitability this year amid the threat of another viral outbreak.
The risk is we would have another shutdown in China in the movie industry. I think that the risk actually may not be that high, but that is the risk, of course.
Alex sets a target price of $17 and a stop loss of $11. Returning is Stephen Leung, whose first stock pick comes from the old financial economy, China Merchant Bank, or CMB, stock code 3968. With the COVID recovery, Stephen thinks the Chinese and the entire global banking industry will be re-rated with improving asset quality and higher profitability.
After the earning decline in 2020, I think there will be a general earning recovery, positive growth in this year. And among the Chinese banks, I like CMB because they are strong in the consumer banking and also wealth management business. And also there's good room for them to develop new business. In fact, CMB has been doing quite a lot in developing their e-banking. And they just get approval from the regulator to form a virtual bank with JD.com recently.
As quarterly earnings recovered 7% in the third quarter, there's talk that U.S. investment banking giant J.P. Morgan will form a partnership to develop a wealth management business in China. Given what's happened to Alibaba and its sister company, Ant Group, could the e-bank be a source of risk?
Compared with the other company like Ant Group providing that kinds of e-bank, CMB, the e-bank of CMB is more like the traditional one, not providing all these financing, consumer financing on the internet, which violate regulations.
There's also the risk posed overseas.
Externally, we will still be watching closely whether the Chinese bank will be put under the sanction list by the U.S.
CMB pays a dividend of nearly 3%, less than half of its state-owned banking competitors. But looking at the other financial ratios like non-performing loans ratio, provision coverage ratio, and CAR ratio, all are at competitive levels. Stephen sets a target price of $58.50 and a stop loss of $40. His second choice is the management services spin-off company of developer Country Garden, CG Services, stock code 6098. The sector acted as a safe haven as the coronavirus pandemic began to expand across the mainland in the first half. Investors liked the company as it was totally unaffected by the pandemic and that it had very strong earnings momentum with strong cash flow. The conditions reversed in the second half as the outbreak came under control under the strict lockdown imposed by the government.
And also there have been a lot new IPO from the sector. Totally, we have around 30 companies for the property management listed so far. And nearly half of them came out to the market during the fourth quarter last year. But the situation in 2021 is totally different. We don't see many IPO in the pipelines, and also people will get back to the fundamental, waiting for the earnings announcement for the 2020.
The government has recently encouraged the sector to use big data to help them manage their assets. The industry is also launching more value-added services to improve margins. CG Services is the country's largest property manager in market cap. It has the largest contract gross floor area, or GFA, and the third largest GFA under management. The company has a war chest of about 10 billion Hong Kong dollars to seek mergers and acquisitions if necessary. Stephen feels the risk to the company is in its very large PE ratio, which is hovering in the 50 range, making it vulnerable to a sell-off if earnings don't satisfy expectations. Stephen sets a target price of $69 and a stop loss of $43. We'll review their stocks in a month to see who returns to go head-to-head.
The New York Stock Exchange announced it will delist 3 Chinese telecom companies: China Telecom, China Mobile, and China Unicom. The exchange confirmed its latest reversal on the matter after Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin disagreed with an earlier decision to reverse the delistings. The latest move, effective January 11th, marks the third time in less than a week the big board has ruled on the matter. The flip-flopping highlights the confusion over which firms were included in an executive order issued by President Donald Trump in November. The order barred Americans from investing in publicly traded companies Washington deems to be tied to the Chinese military. It also comes amid escalating tensions within Washington on China policy in the final days of the Trump administration.
It is a little bit of a non-event that the ADRs of the 3 companies are considered a foreign listing, whereas the Hong Kong listings are included in many indices from, say, MSCI, FTSE, and S&P, but the U.S. listed ADRs from the 3 telecom names are not in the vast majority of the major indices, making it a bit of a non-event for both passive and active investors.
President Donald Trump didn't stop at the stock market. He signed an executive order banning transactions with 8 Chinese software applications. The apps, including Ant Group's Alipay mobile payment platform, as well as apps by WeChat and Tencent. Chinese Ministry of Commerce said Washington should stop its groundless suppression of Chinese applications and restrictions on the normal use of Chinese products and services in the US. It said the move has deviated from the principle of fair competition and undermines a normal free market. The White House said the apps threaten Americans' credit and private information. Fiat Chrysler Automobiles said the decision to merge carmakers Fiat Chrysler and Peugeot was a courageous step that will create the world's 4th largest auto company. The new company will be called Stellantis. Shares in the new company will be launched and traded in Milan and New York. Stellantis will have the capacity to produce 8.7 million cars a year, behind Volkswagen, Toyota, and Renault Nissan, and create 5 billion euros in annual synergies. What remains to be seen is if it will be able to preserve jobs and heritage brands in a global market still suffering from the pandemic.
When Money Matters returns, our team of inspectors tap their way through a flat on a hill in Taipo. Stay with us. Welcome back to Money Matters. A Chinese developer last year launched a complex on a Taipo hillside at a steep discount to draw buying interest. Tonight, reporter Alice Kahn follows our flat examiners to check out whether the quality of a flat there reflects the discount or not.
A new residential project in Taipo. The development is located on a hillside surrounded by green countryside. The isolated area has few amenities. Residents need to leave the quiet neighborhood and go down into the town center to shop. The only transport option is the estate shuttle. If the residents miss the shuttle and if they don't drive, it's a 10-minute hike down the hill. For discerning parents, the project is within Primary School Net 84, which offers some good schools. Some secondary schools are also nearby. Developed by China Overseas Land and Investment, the estate consists of 17 towers, providing 1,600 units. Flat sizes range from 334 to 1,388 square feet. It has a clubhouse with indoor and outdoor facilities such as swimming pools. The apartment our guest inspectors are examining is this 339 square foot, 3-bedroom flat. It's on the 3rd floor in Tower 1. The homeowner bought this unit in 2019 for nearly $9 million. The first thing our flat inspector Travis Yuan checked were the walls. He found a hollow on a living room wall and some other minor damage on the paint. Travis also checked the evenness of the walls. They were all fine. Next up was the tiling. The tile wall and the tile floor in the kitchen passed inspection. Then he examined the washing machine and the fridge. They're in good condition. But when Travis checked the hinge of this cupboard, he found a flaw.
The door of this cupboard hit the light here, basically the cover here. So when the residents here open the door, it may have a chance that let the cover of the light fall down. And it will cause a bit danger when they're doing cooking.
A flat's drainage system always gets a good once-over by the inspectors. Travis checked the kitchen sink for water pressure and the hidden floor drain.
So what I'm gonna do now is just test it and see if the drain is feasible, and working. Now it's working.
So far, so good. The drainage system in the toilet also worked well. Travis tapped the tiles in the toilet. He found one hollow area.
It will be debonded, and when it debonded, it will make the occupants here getting injured.
Travis inspected the door lock.
Okay, the door hinges is fine. The door lock is fine.
Things had proceeded smoothly up until he entered the master bedroom. When he examined the air conditioning pipe duct outside the room, he found a defect.
There's a hole around this corner. Probably the water from the outside will be trapped in there, and then the pipes there will be deteriorated by the rainwater. And turn out maybe the air conditioning may have some problems, the functioning problems there.
Travis spotted another problem on the door frame on the utility platform outside the master bedroom.
There's like a whole gasket here is malfunction. The whole part of it you can see is quite loose, like this. And also like part of the gasket is broken. The rainwater can slip into the inside, and because this gasket is basically for not allowing all the waters getting inside to the property. So when it gets inside the wood or like the interior, may be easy to crack.
He spotted a serious defect in the curtain wall on the balcony.
The whip hole here around this like the door is actually blocked. When the rainwater accidentally get into this area, it will be trapped here. And the water, it cannot slip out to the drain over there. Then the water will go through some rip points between the curtain wall system or the tiles there and slip into the house. So that will be a problem. When the water slip in, the floor, the other things may be deteriorated and also easy to get damaged.
The balustrade was not properly installed because of missing sealants between the joints of the metal bars. Travis says the apartment isn't sealed properly in many areas. The marble slab on the windowsill in the smaller bedroom didn't have any.
The wall may be easily get deteriorated because the air get in. Maybe some moisture and make them easy to be a bit debond from here around this area. It's just like because the air, basically the air, it can slip into here. Yeah, the sealant is that prevent the air to get in.
Luckily, the floor, finishes, and window glass are good. In general, Travis says the workmanship of the flat is below average.
The workmanship around this flat is this unit is not very good because you can definitely see those sealants and also insulation stuff is kind of improper, and it may create some functional issues.
That's all for the build quality side of the inspection. Now on to the layout and design inspection by surveyor Raymond Chan. First, he checked the master bedroom.
Raymond, do you think the layout design is good?
I think for this bedroom, the design of the layout is a bit unusual. Now you can see the utility platform in here. The door to this utility platform is right at the middle of this wall. And this really caused some obstruction to the layout of the furniture. If you have your bed in here, you have to leave quite a long corridor leading to the utility platform.
He said the kitchen is not user-friendly.
The design of this window is a bit strange, I would say, because you can't really open it. It is far from reach. You can't open it and or close it without climbing onto this worktop.
The developer placed a stovetop right next to the kitchen sink. Raymond thinks the design choice is undesirable.
If you have, say, something cooking in here which is hot, you want to wash something in there, then maybe you can easily get touched on the hot surface and get burnt.
Coming from the kitchen into the dining area, Raymond felt the layout a bit odd.
The design of this dining room area is a little bit strange. And now you can see the doorway leading to the kitchen is right at the middle. And it really gives some obstruction to the layout. If you put a dining table in here, it will obstruct the doorway.
This apartment has an open view, but Raymond spotted a problem in the window frame.
Now, Alice, you look at this window. Can you see something strange in the design?
The metal bar is too thick and also it is in the middle. It obstructs the view.
Yeah, exactly. For a window of this size, usually it can be made into a single casement window and without this metal bar in the middle. And even if you have two casements, usually the metal bar will be about 50% of the size.
Overall, Raymond found the layout and design badly thought out. He liked the quality of the appliances and equipment provided. We emailed the developer, and it replied that almost all the defects were fixed.
Folks supporting the Law and Order Party and president seem to be a little over-exuberant as they storm the Capitol building in Washington. The Trump that egged them on to fight weakness in Congress was the same Trump that condemned Black Lives Matter protests. We'll never know if he saw the contradiction because he couldn't tweet it if he did. Twitter banned the less than contrite commander-in-chief, the first time that's happened ever. But a Twitterless Trump still has access to those nuclear codes, so that should bring people comfort as these protesters help Trump finally build his wall around faith in American democracy. Because he still claimed he won the election. There was a bigly map with many, many red states. They turned out to be COVID hotspots. No, he later nearly conceded that he'd passed the seal of office over to the actual winner of the election, so reality has survived the era of alternative facts. Yes, it's going to disappear one day. Like a miracle, it's going to disappear. As America gargles the taste of the Trump era from its collective mouth, with Clorox perhaps, consider the impact of poor Vladimir Putin's loss of White House influence. You can always seek distraction in competition, but you've got to be a kids person. Dozens of Russian families enjoyed winter weather in Kazan while competing at a snowman festival. More than 25 snowmen, which were built and decorated by parents and their children, will stay at a local city park until spring. This year's organizers of the third annual festival didn't select a winner and instead awarded every participant a pair of mittens. They plan to entice more people next winter, with a carrot, of course. To the best after picture of the seasons, Brazil, wet, warm, and overflowing with a turtle celebration. Over 92,000 soon-to-be giant river turtle hatchlings were born on a sandy beach in a protected area along a tributary of the Amazon River. The babies made a dash towards the surf shortly after birth. Conservationists are studying the conditions for mass hatchlings to help improve the management and protection of this endangered species. If you can believe it, numbers have been reduced by trafficking of their meat and eggs. I thought they made soup.
That's our show for tonight. Thanks for joining us. Next time on Money Matters, as Trump gives way to Joe Biden, what can we expect from Hong Kong, China, and U.S. relations on the business front? Join us for a post-inaugural panel next week. Good night.